Sunday afternoon and brew my cup. No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps and rotary motion. Cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Go! Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes' steps in rotary motion.
I see him already.
Cosmic twilight will hang out too.
Yeah, I see Nick right there.
Jeff Garvey and Tim G. Star will sure stop by.
Probably.
Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, definitely don't forget to do that. Oh my goodness, my coffee, man. What's up? How's everybody doing, huh? Holy. We'll just let that thing play out. You guys can probably hear me. Welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us terrestrials we're interested in, right? Happy Sunday. Let me get this stuff out of the way here. Boy, this UAPDA, the thing kind of came out of nowhere, huh? Good to see you guys in the chat. One second, guys. I'm trying to get this thing all lined up. It looks like it took away my Twitter bookmark list. Come on, man. This damn thing sometimes. Is damn a curse? Am I already screwed on YouTube just with damn? Right off the bat. Oh no, but Rotary Motion, good to see you. John Stokes, Cosmic Twilight, of course. Good morning, UFO. Amy, I believe you're here. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. Sapphire Elf, good to see you. Corbell's Cat. Got to get the laugh right away in the day here with the Corbell's Cat. And let me see. Okay, that's it we got in the chat for now. All right. So, like I kind of mentioned before, this UAPDA situation kind of came out of nowhere, right? At least for me, I was trying to look up, the other day when they were going to start looking at this and start voting on this. I couldn't find anything. Obviously, D.D. Johnson on Twitter, he's right on top of everything. So we get lucky enough that he was right out there with a lot of this information that we're going to look at today. I guess so. We're going to go over that. There's not like a whole big rundown that I really want to open with today of all the things that we're going to go over. I'll give you my opinions on this. There is just, I guess if I scroll through this really fast, there's a couple of clips that are, I guess, like interesting videos throughout the week. We get Christopher Mellon's take on Kozlowski, the new Arrow director, so that's there. But nothing too crazy. What I want to do is I want to go over what happened with the UAPDA, which when I look at the thumbnail now, gutted is kind of an understatement, to be honest. It kind of got absolutely swiped. Yeah, there's really not much left. We'll get that. We'll get some reactions from a couple of people that are around the community, a couple of the organizations that are probably interesting for. What I'm not going to do today, listen, I'm not going to sit around and start blaming people and going through every senator that it's their problem, it's their problem. Like I said last week, if I feel like you guys are going to get this stuff from Twitter already, you're going to hear about all the bad people that are out there that should have done more, should have done the right thing. That's there. The show's an hour long. I want to focus on what happened so that you guys can have a better understanding, and then you can make your own judgment of who you want to blame and where you want to go with that. All right, so that's what we're going to go through. Yeah, might as well just go ahead and get over to the big screen right now. Let's see. Everything's running good with the stream here. All right, you guys are seeing this. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Of course, I'm not clicked over here. Of course, wouldn't be a show for me if that didn't go that way. Okay, so here you go. Let's start with this. UFO update. The UAP Disclosure Act fails to make the cut for the manager's amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, this is pretty interesting. We're going to read through some of this. Oh, you can't get the clip. See, every time I click on these early, you guys get a little bit of hint at what's at the end, because I always like order my bookmarks in the way I'm going through this here. So I'll make this bigger. So the way that this is broken out is actually like a really, really good way to explain how this happened, okay? So Senate Armed Service Committee, actually, you know what? I'm gonna read it off the screen. Give me 1 second. I gotta stop turning my neck. My back is, I can't lie to you guys, it's irritating me today. It's mad. Senate Armed Service Committee Chairman Senator Jack Reed and Ranking Republican Roger Wicker yesterday filed a massive manager's package to the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, consuming 88 pages in the congressional record. This mega amendment includes the text of 93 separate proposals, including complete bills dealing with subjects not related to the military, such as measures creating federal judgeships, regulation of hard rock mines, combating cartels, social media, blah, 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 okay? And in the authorization bill for the State Department, SA 3290, also, and that's the manager's package, SA 3290, also includes the entire Intelligence Authorization Act, including several UAP-related provisions that I described on August 1st on this platform. The new Reed-Wicker Omnibus Amendment, which is what they're saying, this package is huge, a package of amendments here. However, it says does not, however, include the text of the Rounds-Schumer UAP Disclosure Act. So out of all these amendments, everything that's bundled up, it's not even there. It is not even there. They just swiped right on past it. That's why I say when I look at the thumbnail and I go, man, you know, gutted, it's not even gutted. It's really not. It's really not even there at this point. I'm going to go a little bit further down here. It says, in a statement issued jointly by Reed and Wicker, they wrote the manager's package in one amendment that incorporates 93 other amendments submitted, blah, blah. Actually, I want to jump right to the point I want to make here. Okay, so this is kind of like the reasoning here. So, okay, to enact the bill in a timely manner, the SAAC, Senate Armed Service Committee, passed NDAA, and the House passed NDAA will be combined through a series of negotiations led by the leadership of the Senate Armed Service Committee and House Armed Service Committee. The amendments included the Reed-Wicker's manager package will be considered during the NDAA negotiations. So the reason why I read that is because there's a little bit of a rumbling where they're saying, look, this amendment wasn't even looked at. It was completely wiped. But people are talking about kind of what happened last year, right, in December, where they got into these negotiation tactics, right, where they were going back and forth. And if you remember, like Burchett and Burchett, I say his name wrong every single time. Burchett even tried to like put in his own version of what he wanted the language to be, which was essentially just give us all the information now. Those negotiation hearings, okay, that's what they're kind of saying. Well, you know, maybe it can be up for negotiation later. Maybe this whole UAP amendment isn't dead, but it looks like it's probably going to be dead as we're going to go through this, okay? There's probably not going to be much discussion when it comes to that. You hear a lot of people talk about mainly just because of the political landscape this year, the elections. There's so much going on in the world right now that this is just not going to be a priority. And you can tell right off the front end, if they're just swiping this thing out and they're not interested, why would they? Why would they spend the time? Why would they spend the money to continue with it? Which, I can't lie to you guys, that makes sense, right? It really makes sense. Now, we say everything fully swiped, right? But there were a couple of things, a couple of line items here of the provisions. Okay, 3 UAP provisions made it through. Okay, and these are kind of where we want to go through next year and kind of take a look at what did get through. Okay, what did get through? So section 101, the comptroller, hope you guys can read that good. Yeah, the Comptroller General of the United States review of all domain anomaly resolution office. So what that means is the Comptroller General is actually the director of the GAO, the Government Accountability Office. Okay, so what they're going to do is they're tasked to actually look into Arrow and make sure that Arrow is being accountable. Are they doing everything the right way? A lot of people have been going over Kirkpatrick and questioning him. I have, without a doubt. We want to see really what Arrow's been up to. Where's volume 2 of the report? Maybe they're going to take a look at how volume 1 was written. They'll take a look at what's been going on behind the scenes with how the testing's been going, where they've been pulling the information. That's pretty cool. You know, that's pretty cool. So you're going to get some oversight from that. Okay. Then you have sunset of requirements relating to audits of unidentified anomalous phenomena historical record report. This one was kind of annoying because, and to be honest, like these last two, when I first read them, I had a hard time really understanding exactly what they're talking about because these are just like the quick line items of what went through in that package. So I wanted to kind of break these down a little bit further and we actually pull up the paperwork. And Dee and Johnson was good enough to, awesome enough to post that. And so we can kind of take a look at it. It's still a little bit annoying to understand, but I think I have a really good guess at what they're referring to with this. But this is going to be more about changing the dates. And we'll get into further into this, but it's more about like changing the dates of when these audits are supposed to come through for these government agencies for these UAP records. Because we know that with the first UAPDA, the National Archive, that archive was built where they needed to start turning these records in. That was like the big claim to fame. What happened last year was they had 25 years to release all these UAP records into the archive, have them sorted out, and disperse them to the public. Okay, so I think that's what they're referring to here on when they're being reported. How often are they being audited? These agencies over that. Now, the next one is section 1003. That's the funding limitations relating to unidentified anomalous phenomenon. This is also an extension that we'll see as we go through, but just the gist on the front end of it is that there was a lot of the talk where you have money that is going into these unreported programs to Congress that deal with UAP. Okay, if you have a UAP program and you're not reporting your findings to Congress, you can't have money for that anymore. It's not legal. It's on the books now. So they go just a little bit further into that. But these are like the main nutshell. If you're here for just the nutshell, those are the three things. But I want to actually pull up the bill legislation or the paperwork, right? Pull up paperwork and we'll take a look at it, okay? Because that always helps. That always helps. So yeah, credit to Dee and Johnson for this stuff, man. He's really been on it. Of course, go follow him on Twitter if you guys haven't. He really knows. He probably knows this the best out of anybody, right? I haven't found anybody that does this as good as him and as right on top of it as he is. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this image up and do another tab so we can zoom in. You can't ever like zoom in exactly the way that I want, but here's the actual language here. So I want to kind of give you the reasons of why I feel that this is the situation. So section 1002, sunset of requirements relating to audits of UAP historical record report. So this is section 6001 of the Intelligence Authorization Act of fiscal year 2023 is amended. It says in subsection B2 by inserting until April 1st, 2025 after quarterly basis, and in subsection C by inserting until June 30th, 2025 after semi-annually thereafter. And so when you list, like when you read that, right, and then you look at historical record report, you look at the archive, that's what I think they're talking about. That's what I think they're amending, is how often those records are being audited, how much they're bringing them in and getting them into that area. So it looks like they've pushed it like a little bit, maybe, because it used to be quarterly. Now it looks like they're going to do twice or semi-annually, so twice a year. So that's there. And then obviously section 103, funding limitations relating to UAP. Now, this is really interesting, but I'm going to actually jump back to the way that he explains this. Because we can read this, but honestly, the way that he explained, I just wanted to at least show you guys that this is right here. This gets extended, the provisions here. Okay, so it says, let me see here for it. Okay, so it says the newly filed, I'm over here on the far right, guys. The newly filed, actually, should we just pull it up here? Maybe we can't. The newly filed revised Senate IAA version includes some tweaks to one of the UAP-related provisions, specifically Section 1003. This is a carryover provision from the enacted fiscal year 2024 bill associated with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. It's a provision that bars funding of intelligence community special access programs unless they have been reported to designated congressional leaders and committees. Okay. Now the new version, that's what this whole section right here is going to go over for it. The new version expands the list of congressional committees that must be notified. The SSCI reported bill listed the Intelligence, Armed Service, and Appropriate Committees, 6 committees in all. To that list have been added, also here, this is the important part, House and Senate Foreign Affairs, Homeland Security Committees, thus now requiring notification of all 10 committees in all addition to the top 4 congressional leaders. So if you want money for a UAP program, you're going to have to report. Because if you get busted, I'm not saying they would be, okay? Because we know that there's ways to do things. It's there. If you were to get busted, it's covered now, okay? And so there's a lot of people that have a big, a lot of happiness about that, right? Good. A good little plus right there, right? Not saying that it's going to do anything, but it's there, right? So that kind of gives you a little bit deeper of a look at what these line items really mean, because I know you guys are just going to get the buzzwords from these, right? You're just going to get the lines, and it took a second to dig at it. So if you haven't had the time to really do that, hopefully I just I helped you out a little bit when it comes to that, okay? That is there. Let me see where I want to jump back to. Okay, so there's a couple of, I guess, reactions that I want to go over for you guys that are out there. Okay, this is Joe Merja. Joe Merja follows the topic obviously very closely. He's been in the Twitter UFO news for other things as well lately, stuff regarding like his relationship with Elizondo and things like that, but we're not going to go into it. But he's been following this always very closely, so it's interesting to get his take. So he says, shitty September. This spells the end for the UAPDA in the current Congress. For whatever reasons, the UAPDA did not achieve the degree of consensus necessary to make it into the omnibus bipartisan manager's amendment, which means the UAPDA will not even be an issue in this year's House-Senate negotiations. That will produce the final fiscal year 2025 NDAA later this year. So he's also not going to be discussed, not going to be looked at any further, okay? He's full of positivities today, Joe is. Oh, man, I'm trying to get my butt back over without it going back up there. All right, so that's his take. And, you know, the reason why I bring this up, Lester Nair, I don't know who this is off the top of my head, but supposedly this guy here has been following and supporting the UAPDA a lot. I've never heard of him. The only reason why I even know about him was because Joe Merja ends up quote tweeting this right here. Okay, this statement right here. And I think he quote tweets it off. Maybe I won't be able, is it up here? Yeah, he quote tweets it off this section. And it says, last year, some amendments got a standalone vote outside of the manager's package. Any chance Schumer brings the UAPDA to a vote that way? And that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, later on in the year, could they bring this back up as its own thing and re-vote on it? And he's saying, and maybe this guy is in the know. I mean, maybe he is. He's saying the airdrop is said to be unlikely. And so what they mean by airdrop, I take it as, you know, that last minute, you know, throw it in really late and try to get after it. So they're saying that's not likely. Not likely something to come. Now, the next kind of reaction to this I think is interesting is the Soul Foundation, right? So you have all these, you know, Galileo projects, Citizens for Safe Aerospace. It would be interesting to get a take from one of these organizations that's really diving into the phenomenon, right? And doing a little bit of research. It says, this is most unfortunate news. Secrecy about many federal government's UAP activities is likely illegal and harms Congress and Americans. UAP Disclosure Act would have helped to remedy that. There's still time to advocate for and pass this historic legislation. Yeah, see, I think that they're hopeful that the airdrop is likely. So if you're into the Soul Foundation and you want to take their positivity, there it is. That's their take on it. Okay, now this is interesting here. When we start looking forward, should we do? Well, let me do these last couple of reactions before we jump into this reaction, okay? Because this is a big one right here from Chris Sharp in the UK. This is Stephen Bassett, Paradigm Research Group. He's obviously the most positive person in when it comes to ufology and the whole topic, and being the lobbyist that he is. So he says, and by the way, it won't work. Watch for a standalone UAP Disclosure Act to turn up soon. Ego and arrogance will not prevail in this matter. Dude, Steve Bassett will never say die. He will never say die. He's always going to find a way to spin it in another direction, which is pretty great. So he's also believing in this whole idea that they're going to bring it up to vote. Like I said before, I don't think so with everything that's going on in the government. I highly doubt it. Now, this reaction that we're going to go to here is from the UAP Disclosure Fund. How could we leave their reaction out, right? They're the big disclosure fund. This is the big deal. This is Elizondo and the boys here, okay? Let's jump full screen for this one. This is breaking. The UAP Disclosure Act was not included in the Senate's manager package of amendments for the 2025 National Defense Authorization Act. It is unlikely that there is another path for the UAPDA to proceed this year. Wow. This is another reason of why I think it's probably done and that they're not going to do any negotiations or anything further. Because if anyone was going to rah this thing, it would be them, and they're already throwing in the towel. Interesting. Our work towards UAP disclosure will continue. There are many paths to the truth, and our movement is only growing. Okay. Now, if I remember right, it might have been, I think it was Matt Ford. I think it was the Matt Ford interview. I was trying to go find the clip today, but God, it's hard. Elizondo's done so many interviews, and the last few interviews he's done have been really, really long. Hell, it could have even been on Rogan. But he was asked, what happens if this UAPDA doesn't go through? Is it a setback, or are we at a standstill? He says it puts us at a standstill, right? Our work towards UAP disclosure will continue. So he seems, how do I describe it? I guess. He doesn't seem as hopeful as the rest of the organization. I'm sure they're going to continue and try, I would guess, but at the exact same time, when I really look at this thing going forward, I just don't know. I just don't know if you keep trying to take this Disclosure Act that is clearly not making, it's getting worse every single time that they try to move it, right? You're getting less and less done every time. Pretty much nothing this time. You didn't get the presidential elect board. You didn't get that, right? You didn't get the board that could set up and create a plan for how to enact disclosure. None of that stuff went through. That was all important parts of the legislation that they wanted. That was, in my opinion, the biggest stuff that was there. I guess before we jump into this last reaction here and what's could be coming forward potentially, I'll give you my opinion. I looked at this UAPDA as I didn't think it was going to pass. I didn't think so, but it was still interesting to watch this thing go all the way through. Because if it did, it did. We'd have to see what would come out of it, right? That would be interesting to see what would come out of it. I'll hold the rest of it. But I didn't think it would go through. So I wasn't surprised. I'm not upset about it personally, because of that. But I'm not convinced that they're gonna keep going forward. Definitely not with the UAPDA, and this is a one of the reasons why. Okay, let's leave this. Okay, this is also from Lester Nair. I think the analysis from Chris UK Sharp in his latest article specifically on the UAPDA is how things went. Several groups, including ours, have been anticipating this outcome and are prepared for the next phase. I want to comment on that too. Have you guys noticed it? I noticed it. There was no rah for this UAPDA amendment this year. Last year it was everybody. Everybody everywhere was saying, call your local congressman, tell him you want it, tell him you want it. You know, there were some people saying, hey, call him and tell him, you know, you want certain things changed. I haven't really heard people really rah it. You know, I did my interview with Stephen Bassett last year going over this. And he was out there taking all those podcast requests. He was going all over the place. And I also say this too, Elizondo in all of his interviews, especially with him being a part of the UAPDA or UAPDF. I mean, he was a part of the UAPDA. I mean, he worked on legislation with Mellon and Grush. And I mean, these guys were writing this thing. He didn't really like promote it that much. Right? You didn't hear him really talk about it that much. He was questioned that one time really about it. But I don't know. I just kind of figured there would have been more involved. I mean, I know he wants to talk about his book, and I know that's really where all the money and all the big exposure and everything is. But I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel the energy. That's why I guess maybe this felt like it came out of nowhere when we finally learned, you know, what happened with this UAPDA. Okay, so this was written by Chris Sharp. Okay, without further ado, I've been teasing this thing long enough. Okay, the failure of the UAP Disclosure Act, UAPDA, in 2024 is disappointing, but not entirely unexpected given the complexities of the current election cycle, the political dynamics within the 118th Congress, and persistent pushback from institutional gatekeepers. Probably some truth in that. While this setback is significant, it does not mark the end of our efforts toward greater transparency in UAP-related matters. We look forward to the forthcoming releases mandated by UAPDA provisions that did pass in the NDAA fiscal year 24, including intelligence assessment of the nature and origins of UAP looking ahead, origins of UAP, period. Looking ahead. We have been proactively developing legislative alternatives tailored for introduction in the 119th Congress. These new initiatives will be presented publicly, offering a fresh approach to achieving our goals of increased disclosure and accountability. It is important to note that this likely represents the final iteration. This is important here. Final iteration of the UAPDA in its current form. Our future legislative efforts will build upon the lessons learned from this experience, adapting in the evolving political landscape and addressing the concerns that hindered the Act's passage. Okay. So they're talking about really, my opinion, from what I'm hearing from that, they're really going to shake it up. And a lot of people, I think, rightfully so, were criticized the way that the UAPDA was written again this year. And another reason probably why people weren't very excited about it was because of how similar that it was. You know, you're going to take the same piece of legislation that got absolutely destroyed last time, and you know you're going to go in with the same thing again. You're going to try to push the same deal again. I mean, the eminent domain argument. I mean, that's a whole huge deal of an argument, and I know people are still going to hash that out. And I don't know. There's parts of the argument on both sides that I understand. You know, I understand that it could essentially give, you know, the government more power to cause another cover up. It's an interesting take. I just kind of have a hard time buying that would happen, mainly because I feel like a big part of getting a lot of the secrecy done and getting it over with, if it's there, I mean, if these things are really there, a lot of it's to quit all this damn extra spending. You know, all you're going to end up doing is you're going to create another way to spend more and more money on the secrecy. How many times over the past have we heard about how these programs are essentially just money pits just for the security? That the security is 7-8 times the cost of the program. So what would be the point in continuing spending that way? I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, if they feel that they still want to cover it up, or that people aren't ready, or the tech's not ready, or what have you. And then I understand the other side, where people should be able to own things that they find, or own things that they develop. I understand the capitalistic take on it, for sure. But at the same time, I mean, if you were to dig up a nuclear bomb, which I'm sure you wouldn't in your backyard, but if you were, you know, and it was something that was active or something that you could actually use, I don't think anyone would want just a random person having that sitting in their house, right? So I see multiple sides to the argument, but I mean, that maybe that's something that they're going to end up taking out. I know Elizondo had mentioned something about that where he was saying, well, if that's what it's all about, then take the eminent domain clause out. But I think it's deeper than that. I think at the end of the day, these contractors and stuff, Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, I think they don't want to go over this, man. This was the biggest alley-oop ever to them, this amendment. If they really felt like it was time where they wanted to start releasing the stuff, or they had a way to, why wouldn't you do that right now if you were really interested in doing that? But that's kind of the look it forward. That's Chris Sharp's take. And look, that's Liberation Times, right? So I mean, they're on the ends, they're on them behind the scenes. They're talking to all these people, Elizondo and all of them, Jeremy Corbell. They're all friends, man. They're all friends. And so it's interesting to get this take from people who are all friends behind the scenes. All right. Let me see. Is there anything else I kind of wanted to bring up about this, man? I don't know. That's kind of the gist of it, of really what happened. Like I said, if you want to blame certain Congress people for it, whatever, you guys can go do that. But I don't really want to spend time on that, to be honest. I don't really think that makes a huge difference, because it's just going to be everywhere. I seen this clip, and I grabbed this transition into like the other parts here of the show. We're 30 minutes in here. It says in the quote here, it says, in 3 to 5 years, there will be congressional hearings, Tom DeLonge, in 2019. When I seen this, I thought to myself, I said, man, dude, I've given TTSA and just TTS throughout that, even prior to the Academy. We've all given them like a lot of hard time. Like we've given Tom DeLonge a hard time. I mean, his appearance on Rogan wasn't good. But boy, he was connected at the start. There was something that was really going on, because when you look at this prediction, he's kind of on point here. So I want to pull up this clip for you guys just to look at this. And you guys know me, I don't usually jump back too much into the past unless I can actually tie it in here to something, which I think this kind of ties in. But I'm gonna be honest with you, this was kind of like a moment of retrospect I had the other day when I was going through some of this stuff. So let's listen to Tom DeLonge here talk, man.
Knowledge that they are. So that's what we've been doing. So at To the Stars, we have been specifically involved in 3 things, which is getting ready to bring out the stories, studying it with the public and really big, AI database algorithms and all this different stuff. And then the third thing is building the technology. So we're active in all 3 of those.
So you're saying it's coming. So 5, 10 years, 15, 20 years,
I think
20, 30 years?
I think within the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to start hearing rumblings of hearings.
But something more substantial than rumblings of hearings.
No, because this is a big deal.
They laugh. Something more than rumblings of hearings. Yeah, I mean, I want more than just rumblings of hearings too. But when you look at it, look at the time frame on that. Look at the time frame. He was spot on. I mean, he was right in that 3 to 5 year range, right? You had Grush last year. You had Ronald Moultrie, Scott Bray prior to that. They've been doing hearings, man. I don't know. It's just interesting. It doesn't mean that Tom was right and everything they were doing was fine and the TTSA was good and everything was great. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just looking back at this and I'm kind of like, damn, it is really interesting. And when I thought about that, you start to think to yourself, how could he have really been in that spot? I mean, we know that he when he started, I mean, technically, probably 2014, and I'll pull up a timeline here that'll start to go over that. But he had been in talks with these people for quite a long time, people behind the scenes like John Podesta through email, right? But when you talk about these hearings, this is another thing that kind of popped up as I thought about those Podesta emails. And we look at this November House hearing that Nancy, was it Nancy Mace? I almost said Nancy Grace, but that's like the newscaster lady. When you start thinking about that, right, and you start thinking about things like this UAPDA not going through, and you start looking at the future of Congress, like the future of congressional attention to this topic. If the UAP, the next one that they do, I mean, like I said, I don't really think they're going to do a next one. I hear what Sharp's saying, but I think we'll see. We'll see. It kind of like all this congressional attention kind of rests on some of these hearings. Now, that hearing in November and also the Senate Gillibrand hearing with Arrow in November. Those hearings are going to hold a lot of weight. At some point, guys, these have to stop being nothing burger hearings for them. We have to start getting the ball moving with these. The reason why I say that is because, if you look at the Department of Energy one where they brought our old governor, Senator or Governor Granholm, and before, she was like assistant secretary of the DOE or secretary of the DOE. We didn't hear anything from that. We didn't get anything from that, right? So I kind of took that as kind of a nothing burger, right? So you ask yourself, how do you get these to not be nothing burgers? Okay, I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting to the point. I'm sorry, there's a little bit of background here, okay? You got to start getting the right people. So what do we hear about the right people? We hear about people like Tim Gallaudet going in there, right? Okay, that's interesting. But let's take a look at what they were talking about in these emails back in the day. Okay? Here's an article. This is from the Rolling Stone. Okay. This is the recent WikiLeaks dump revealed that former Blink-182 guitarist Tom DeLonge emailed Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. This is from 2016. Okay. About UFOs, according to the Wall Street Journal. The guitarist sent his first note to manager John Podesta in October 2015, though the two had previously met, as Tom DeLonge introduced himself as the one who interviewed you for that special documentary not too long ago. DeLonge goes on to discuss the multimedia project. Okay, he says, I would like to bring two very important people out to meet you in DC, DeLonge wrote. I think you'll find them very interesting as they were principal leadership relating to our sensitive topic. But both were in charge of most fragile divisions as it relates to classified science and DoD topics. Who's he talking about here? Okay, who's he talking about? Other words, these are A-level officials, worth our time as well as the investment to bring all the way out to you. Here's the second part. I'll start right up here. DeLonge contacted Podesta again this January, sending an email with the subject General McCaslin. General McCaslin. I thought about this when I seen that clip that we just showed from Tom. I said, you know what? I said, damn. Thinking about these hearings, who do we need? If Grush isn't going to come around again, or you ain't going to get Elizondo in there, who do you need? General McCaslin would be an amazing choice. Apparently a reference to former Air Force official with information relating to the infamous Roswell crash. In the email, DeLonge insisted that McCaslin was not a skeptic, despite the general's own previous insistence, and added when Roswell crashed, they shipped it to the laboratory right at Patterson Air Force Base. General McCaslin was in charge of the exact laboratory up to a couple years ago. Damn. Imagine you get McCaslin in there, huh? That's what you need. That's what you need. You need witnesses like that. That's huge. Imagine that. Now, the rumor is the reason why we never got anything further with McCaslin was because when these WikiLeaks emails got dumped out, it sent him scurrying. Tom talks about, I think, a few of the quote-unquote advisors that he had kind of just ended up running. They went running. So, I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that comes across my mind. I start to think about what could they really do? How could they really get the ball rolling? And you need some big names, not just for the information, but because they need to speed this thing up. Okay? They need to speed this thing up. And the reason why I say that is I want to jump over to the next thing here. And before I do that, I want to switch screens here just in case I pull up, something that, because, you see people pull up the wrong thing on streams all the time. I don't want to pull my address up or something, right? Okay. This has been a long time. This is, I think, a good reference. All right. And obviously the topic of ufology has been going a long time, but when we look at things like the UAPDA, we got to look at really the roots of kind of where everything began with this. 2014, To the Stars. To the Stars is founded. You get the poet Anderson, right? He starts writing all these books, and the Angels and Airwaves album comes out, and you got 2015 here, Strange Times. Tom starts really getting a lot of this, these comic series and everything moving. That's why I say, you hear Lou say we've come a lot further in the last 7 years than we have in the last 70 years, but it's longer than that. It's been longer than that. We're rolling up to a decade, ladies and gentlemen. A decade. You got a lot of attention for this topic over this last 10 years. But you want to be able to hold that attention, but you got to be able to start paying people off a little bit as far as like getting them some actual real data. We need real data. This is really how long this has been going. In 2016, you had the Secret Machines book, Chasing Shadows. I was so hyped for this book. I mean, I was following everything Tom was doing this whole way up. I pre-ordered Secret Machines, Chasing Shadows. I own the book. It's somewhere around here. I read it twice. I got the audio. I've listened to it a couple times too. This was a really great book. And you know something, I guess is a little segue if Dave is watching, if Dave ever is listening to me on 2x speed or something like that. I was given my behind the scenes, I guess it wasn't behind the scenes because I said it on the show, but I gave my score 6.4 out of 10 for the Elizondo book. And he was like, well, then what's a 10 book for you? I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. But then when I seen the Secret Machines ago, I was like, that was a damn near 10 book. Man, it was a great read. Hell of a book. Hell of a book, man. So that was there. And then obviously in 2017, you had the release of the New York Times article, and you had 2 Stars Academy of Arts and Science. And it's been building. The Secret Machines, Fire Within, 2018, 2019. 2018, you had Unidentified, right? 2020, I think was what? Monsters of California, yeah. And I think season 2 of Unidentified. So look, it's not just 7 years, but I think even when you just say 7 years, you don't really get that full view of how long that this entire process that really did begin with DeLong, for at least the public side, right? Of starting to get the plan moving the public side. It's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. And I think when you see things like the UAPDA, you know, whether you agree with it, whether you don't, I don't think it makes it really a difference. There's a lot of the normie people that when they hear about this stuff and it continues to get smushed, they just either believe that there's nothing there or they believe the government's never going to tell them anyway. And then they leave. And that's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. You want the public to be interested. Okay. But I digress. Okay. So I don't know. This is the stuff that I look at. Let's jump over to this. Okay. Let's transition here again. Christopher Mellon made a statement. This was on September 19th, a couple days ago. We've all been kind of wondering behind the scenes what a lot of people think about this. Dr. John Kozlowski, the new Arrow director, not the interim guy. We actually got a new guy in there that's going to be running things officially. So let's read his statement. Christopher Mellon says, I had the pleasure of spending several hours, let me move that, this week with Arrow's new director, Dr. John Kozlowski. Kudos to the officials at DOD and the IC who were involved in selecting Dr. Kozlowski for this important position. If my first impression proves accurate, everyone interested in UAP has reason to feel optimistic about a more informative, open-minded, productive, and transparent future for that office. Okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, and I probably could have grabbed some thoughts on this, but I don't know about you guys, but I feel like people were talking up Kirkpatrick before he took over, right? You were hearing people a lot of rah for Kirkpatrick. A lot of people have changed their mind on that now, right? They've changed their mind on that. Not that much hasn't already been accomplished by his predecessor, although I did not share Dr. Kirkpatrick's views on a number of key issues. I mean, I agree with that. He did get the office up and running, never easy in a I love that he says here, never easy in the 5-sided nut house. That's really funny. He seems to have made good headway in a number of areas, especially new UAP and sensor technologies. Still, I'm far more hopeful about the prospects for the office under new leadership to share more fully and candidly with our elected officials and to the degree possible, the American public. Okay. So there you have it. He's hype on it. Mellon's hype. We'll have to see. I don't know. The Senate side, Gillibrand's hearing is going to be interesting. Hopefully we get to see it. I think they were actually talking about whether or not we were going to be able to see it and watch it. Hopefully. Yeah. That would be pretty nice. But like I said, you have Mellon already kind of coming out and giving him the thumbs up and everything like that. I'm not going to do that. Not me. You're going to have to show me stuff at this point, right? Right? I mean, I'll report on the guy. You know, we'll talk about John Kozlowski, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe the guy can get in there and do a good job. But I'm just kind of sick of like looking at people for all these, like giving people all this credit before we really see what's going on, the long road, right? A lot of people would mention that about Elizondo. A lot of people probably would like to take back a lot of the rah-rah that they gave Elizondo, because really at the end of the day, he got us the book. But I think a lot of people were expecting like disclosure from him or something. So, you know, I didn't expect disclosure from the guy, but the point is, let's keep our expectations tempered, right? Let's keep them tempered. So that's his take on that. Where are we at? 45 minutes. We're going to be right at that hour mark, probably maybe a little under today, which is not going to be bad for me because my back is being an annoyance. Obviously, I'm been standing this time because I don't know. I slept okay, but I don't know. It's been bothering me. My feet have been bothering me. So this is the next thing I want to bring up. We have Jaime Maussan, the mummy slumber party with Jaime Maussan. So if you want to go hang out with Jaime Maussan, then you're able to do that. Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan offering an out-of-this-world Airbnb experience. Okay, he's moving into the Airbnb business. How about that? Let's read a little bit about this. I'll be honest, the place looks awesome, right? I mean, just in general, I would love to stay in this house here. The Mexican paranormal investigator Jaime Maussan, host of a UFO-themed television show that airs in several Spanish-speaking countries, is offering free one-night stay in his forest. You always want me to zoom in on this a little bit? Probably just like, no, just read it to me, man. Let's zoom in on it. Spanish-speaking countries offering a free one-night stay in his forest cabin. The Airbnb says will be, quote-unquote, out of this world. I'm sure it will be. In a deal promoted through the booking platform, Maussan will welcome 2 guests, preferably UFO enthusiasts. Okay, but he wants you to really be happy. He probably wants you to have a lot of money too. Into his home for an overnight stay on October 5th, a Saturday night during World Space Week from October 4th through the 10th. This is the place. Yeah, looks beautiful. Right. Among other perks, the guests will get to enter the bunker where Maussan keeps evidence of his research on extraterrestrials, UFOs, and undiscovered planets. Undiscovered planets, man, this is enticing. How much do I gotta pay? After years of exploring the unknown, I want to invite the most passionate to share my most personal retreat, my house, the host of the TV program. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. It's Third Millennium, I guess, in English here. The booking process will commence on September 15th at 11 a.m. It's not a contest, Airbnb wrote in announcing the promotion. However, Maussan will determine the winner, quote unquote, which is the person who puts up the most money, I'm sure, by reviewing and assessing each application. You know, listen, attach that check to the application. 6 figures at least. The booking does not include transportation. So what is he going to have? The mummies? We're going to have some mummies over here? I don't know. Oh, wait, no, there is. That is a, wait. Is it a mummy in the box? No. Oh, there's 2 of them. This picture looks kind of fake, though. I can't lie. It looks like weird. Yeah, there's no way that's a real photo. The way that it's like grainy, it looks like AI generated or something, which I don't know why he would do that because it's supposed to be at his house. But you're going to be able to sleep with the mummies. Would you guys be comfortable doing that? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be comfortable sleeping in the house with these. Even if you thought they were fake, they're creepy, right? They're creepy looking, dude. Imagine you get up in the middle of the night and these things are just walking around. You know, they're in the fridge. They're grabbing some food. I don't know. You see, the orbs are going to come in. The Colaris orbs are going to roll in and bring them back to life. I don't know. Listen, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to go, dude, he is grifting it up. He is grifting it up. It's a good example. Hey, he might be. He's making some money out here on this stuff. But if you want to go to the mummy slumber party, I would say save your money. Save your money. There it is, if you want to do that. We're getting a couple more of these little videos here and we'll wrap up. This was Vetted posted this. This was pretty cool right here. I don't know. Can we do the audio on this? Let me see if we can do the audio. Is it music? Oh, it's definitely music. I'm not doing that. Definitely music. This kid's got this boat. It looks like a UFO. That is awesome. Look at this thing, man. What does it say on there? The universe is vast. and life is endless. Whoa, check him out. He's got the bare feet. Look, he's got the bare feet going on that thing. Wow. Dude, he's got this. I like how it says YouTube. So he must be a YouTuber. This thing is awesome. He's gonna end up, I would imagine, get out with a fishing pole and go fish. Look, wow, damn, dude, that thing is hauling. That is awesome. We gonna get any UFO videos of this? People are gonna say, "We seen the UFO out on the water." Dude, I would love to float that thing, huh? How badass is that? We got a little trick here, a little trick. Oh no, he's not going to. I don't know where this is, man. Where is this? Does it say where this is? Wonder why you picked the number 68. Maybe something with the year. Maybe something with like a UFO case in 68 that he likes. That's interesting. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That kid's got a future, don't he? He's got a future. I want one. Yeah, me too. Me too. I want mine to. I don't want the gray though. I'd have it blacked out. I want it blacked. I want my saucer boat blacked out. It's wait. We got to make this joke before we go. It's transmedium travel. It's transmedium travel. It's in the water. Okay, it's in the water. It's gonna take off. No, I don't know. It's pretty funny. All right, so let's jump over to the AI video of the week. All right, AI video of the week. So I chose this video this week because we usually do like the film stuff, right? We usually pick an AI video for the films. Get to see what Hollywood's doing with that. This one's a little bit different. This is going to be something I think more in the realm of, yeah, it's a video, but it kind of shows what's potential for gaming when like creating video games when it comes to AI. Because this to me looked like a video game. I'm for sure going to kill the audio on this too. I'm so afraid of dealing with the audio on YouTube, man. Remember we were doing that audio like a few months ago and they just killed the episode over it? So here it is. This is awesome, dude. For AI, look at the potential, man. Game developers, your jobs are at risk too, okay? It's not like the best, like most high-end graphics or everything in the scene doesn't make like, perfect sense, right? Like look at that back there. Like we'll go ahead and isolate this one moment here, okay? So look at that. This part of the building seems to kind of fall in on itself, but then it just kind of goes to dust. It's like, yeah, we're done. But these look cool, right? These futuristic looking vehicles. I like how you get the good depth of field, right? In the good depth of field, you're gonna have this area blurred out. You got your focus really good on the frame. It's cool, man. The explosions look really, really good, detailed. It's very hard to make fire look real and make it like look convincing. That's always feel like with CGI and all graphics, fire is like hard. Fire usually always looks crap, but it doesn't look bad here. You know, you got the dark smoke, blends in pretty well. I can't wait to see where this stuff goes, you guys. I can't wait. This is why I'm so happy about being in my 30s right now, because in 50 years, if I'm still alive, which I hope so, hopefully I'm making it in my 80s, can you imagine? Can you imagine what the hell they're going to be able to do, man? God, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right, last clip. And I kind of pulled this as like a little honorable mention thing or something like that. Just something to kind of throw near here at the end if we were at the time. But I don't know, maybe it's important. Maybe you guys will like this. I know that Trump has been recently asked about whether or not he would release the UFO files. And he had kind of stated that he would, and that was something that he would really be interested in doing. But when you look at this clip of him on Fox News, obviously the reporters that are around him are like over the top, like your normal normie fans, or not fans, but like normal takes, I guess you would get from people in the media about UFOs. Like, I mean, she gets really over the top here with it at the start, but it's really mostly I want to point out his response here for people. And we'll take a listen to this here. Hopefully Fox News doesn't destroy us.
Are there aliens at Area 51?
Oh wait, I don't know if you guys can hear that for all. Hold on. I always try to start a little bit lower.
Are there
We'll go up a little. Are there aliens at Area 51? Well, the aliens wouldn't be at Area 51. They'd be at S4. I hate when people say that. Are they at Area 51? No.
aliens at Area 51?
You know, I'll tell you, it's a funny thing because I think that might be a question that I get more than any question.
No
It is
kidding.
the craziest thing. So we have that so-called area. They consider it like a sacred area. And I will say this. I don't think I'm a believer.
I don't think I'm a believer. See, I don't think I'm a believer that he's going to do anything with the UFO files. I don't want to say UAP. I hate saying UAP. I like saying UFO. I'm going back. Fighting the power on that one. No, I don't think he's going to at all. I don't think he's going to at all.
But I've interviewed pilots that look, I like Tom Cruise, but better than Tom Cruise. The blonde crew cuts, the whole, and this, yes, sir. And they were in the Oval Office, 3 or 4 pilots. These are not people that make up stories. They said, all I know, sir, is there was a round object that was going 4 times faster than my F-22, which is
Woo! Fast.
a very fast plane. And it wasn't, you know, it shouldn't have been. It was round, sir. They have seen, I mean, 4 or 5 guys I've interviewed, solid people, great pilots for the U.S. Air Force,
Great pilots, great guys.
etc. They've seen things that they cannot explain.
Follow-up
So there's
question.
something.
Also a maybe.
So there's something. Yeah. Yeah, we know there's something, Trump. We know that. Okay. We want you to tell us what the something is. I don't need you to tell me that there's something. We know that. Okay.
Follow-up.
Oh, I don't think I got the rest of the clip for the follow-up on that guy, but yeah, so he's kind of like reverting back to the previous statements he was making about it prior to him saying, oh, I think I'll release the stuff, the JFK files, you know, I want to get that stuff out there again. I just think it's all campaign speak. And I think JD Vance made a mention of something this week too, where he kind of talked about UFOs. I thought I had that, but maybe it's gone somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's campaign speak. I don't think he's going to do it. I think he could have done it last time if he was going to do it. So I wouldn't get my hopes up for that. I just really wouldn't. I'd stay pretty reserved. So, I mean, that's kind of the deal this week, guys. That was the big moment. The UAPDA getting smashed up, beat up, absolutely passed over completely. You know, it's no surprise, but I think what you're going to see, I'm trying to get this little music here going for us, you know, a little bit of background something as we're ending up here. I think you're going to start to see that you're going to need Congress to get people like, you know, people like McCaslin, get some of those people involved. That would be great. I don't know if Gallaudet is going to be able to provide anything. I know he's talked about he's got more information that's classified that he's going to be able to talk to them about, or, you know, he's going to go in there and tell stories. But at the end of the day, we're really not. I have a hard time like with this whole drip disclosure idea that we're getting drips and that they're pushing it out. I think the UAPDA for me is a really good example of that. It's not a drip. It's not. If the government, at least not from the government, if the government wanted to tell you what was going on, if the military industrial complex wanted to tell you what was going on, they'd be doing it. We're getting books from people. We're not getting the hard evidence that we need. I mean, how many more years of acclimatization are we going to need? I don't know. But we'll have to see what happens going forward. Maybe these congressional hearings can bring something forward. But I don't see. I don't feel it. I'm not confident about much going on. I'm gonna watch this thing all the way through to the end. Obviously, you know, I've been watching this we pulled up the timeline. I've been interested in what Tom's been doing with all of that for 10 years. Seeing where this thing was gonna go, right? Seeing where disclosure was gonna go. Where was the next timeline of disclosure gonna take us, and what kind of fruit it was gonna bear, right? But I think when you really look at it, we might be kind of coming to the end of government requested disclosure. I think people are going to start getting very, very disheartened, and you're going to start hearing more things like do-it-yourself disclosure, or, you know, go out there and do CE5 and get disclosure for yourself. People are going to stop asking the government. They're going to stop. and they'll find some other way. Humans will find a way. They'll look for a way to get around that obstacle. And Elizondo seems to be, from what he's saying, maybe setting up an exit, saying he wants to get out. You know, he always said that, or he's been saying recently, I know I'm trying to wrap this thing up here, but I gotta get this last part out here. He said if it came down, I'll leave you guys with this. Elizondo said if it came down to national security or disclosure, he's going to choose national security every time. I think he's setting up his exit. So if all this stuff doesn't work out with Congress, he can go, well, look, guess what, guys? Can't be mad at me. We tried, but they decided national security was more important and people aren't ready. So see ya. Thanks for the money. That's my guess. I could be wrong. That's my guess. I will be on Alien Addict today at 4 p.m. EST. I think we're going to be talking about why the cover-up is in place or something like that. Or we're talking about the cover-up and kind of giving our speculation on that. That'll be a lot of fun. Last night on Red Panic Walla's channel, me and Tupa and Red went over kind of the Elizondo and John J. Stratton, the kind of feud that's been behind the scenes with them and what we think has been going on with ATIP and OSAP and that kind of a mess. I think it's like 2.5 hours. It's on Red's channel if you guys want to go watch that. It was pretty fun. It was interesting. I think you'll learn a lot. That'll be there. And yeah, oh yeah, Nick, yeah, you're gonna be down the alley, dude. It's been too long, bro. It's gonna be good to be able to talk to you again. But I want to thank everybody for coming, man. Zach Diecast Monso. I gotta try to say it like Rich, man. Rich says the name so funny. John Stokes, thank you for coming as usual, man. I hope you guys learned something today about the UAPDA. I hope I did a good job with your hour of your life today. Okay, that's what I try to do, man. I try to keep it at an hour, keep it very, very simple, straightforward. Bring you something that's interesting, give you a little bit of a depth take, something you can chew on with you. Sapphire Elf, Jeff Garby, Corbell's Cat, thank you for coming. John P. Adventures, see you there too. Thank you as well. I don't know if Amy's still here or not. Amy, if you're still here, hey, man, thanks for coming. You know, if you only stayed for the UAPDA stuff and wanted to get my opinion on that, understandable. Rotary Motion, of course. I ain't forgetting you, bro. You're in the song. All right. So everybody else, have a great rest of your Sunday. We'll see you over at Alien Attic. If we don't, hopefully we got some more we can chew on next week, and we'll go over it, okay? So we'll leave with the song. Appreciate you guys for coming. Have a rest of your day, all right? We'll see ya.
No UFO live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, steps and rotary motion. The cosmic twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garby and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Live stream shows on What the Truck. Hold up, what am I thinking? Terrestrial materials on at 1 p.m. Eastern. Terrestrial material, give me a recap. Terrestrial material, that's where you'll find me at. Aliens and AI, Matt, he's a hell of a guy. I bet I'll see John Stokes, Gibbs, and rotary motion. Cosmic Twilight will hang out too. Jeff Garby and Tim G. Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. hang out too. Jeff Guardian, Tim G Star will sure stop by. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow on Twitter if you can, or X, wherever you want. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you.